Steve Shaw.
You gotta be outspoken, you gotta be focused, to build a better tomorrow, the future's golden. You gotta learn to have patience, everything will come in time. Now young black man rise, young black man rise. You gotta be outspoken, you gotta be focused, to build a better tomorrow, the future's golden. You gotta learn to have patience, everything will come in time. Now young black man rise, young black man rise.
Hello, 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 and welcome to the Boys of Color Rise radio show. My name is Steve Shaw, and I'm the founder and CEO of the Boys of Color Rise program, of which this show represents. And with me now is one of our Boys of Color Rise program managers, Miss Danita Wright. Say hello, Danita.
Hi, everyone. I'm so glad to be here again. Love that.
I
love that audience. Yeah. I love that. Glad to be here with everyone. I'd like to welcome everyone on Facebook Live. Give us some shout outs.
Shout out. All right, again, my name is Steve Shaw, and I'll be your host for the next half hour along with Miss Wright. But first, as usual, and for those who may be listening in for the first time, let me just tell you a little bit about the Boys of Color Rise program itself. The Boys of Color Rise program is 52 weeks of mentoring 1 day a week for 1 hour. That's 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. And it's all free to boys of color ages 10 to 14 or who are in grades 5th through 9th grade. Again, they can also be in the 5th grade, the 6th grade, the 7th grade, the 8th grade, or the 9th grade. All right, so we work at 5 different community centers. Park Hill on Mondays, which is ran by Raymond Brooks. Southwick on Tuesdays, Albert Brown. Newburgh on Wednesdays, Steve Edwards. Shawnee on Thursdays, that's Barbara Broughton. And then on Fridays, we have South Louisville with Mark Hoover. Now, last week we had our second meeting, but do not let that stop you from signing your child up, because we still have space, especially at Shawnee, Southwick, and Park Hill. They're slowly filling up, though, but we do have space. And again, we only accept 10 young men per center. So I urge all the parents to grab a flyer out of one of those centers or go to Facebook, type in Boys of Color Rise, and locate it's a blue flyer, or just click on the QR code that will take you to the application itself. Or, as usual, you can give me a call. Again, Steve Shaw, S-H-A-W, 502-420-8308. And with that said, I'll now hand it over to Miss Wright.
Yes, again, I'm so glad to be here on the Boys of Color Rise radio talk show. Now, like Mr. Shaw stated, last week was just 2 times that the boys met, because remember, they only meet once every week because it's just 5 centers. I don't want anybody to get confused. There's 5 centers, yes, 10 per center, but they're only meeting once a week. So we're talking like two sessions have just occurred. So again, we still encourage you to sign your boys up, sign those young men up right now before it fills up. So, second week.
Woo.
Second week. How was it the second week?
Well, you know, it's funny you say that. This lady asked me, she said, why do you only do 5 centers? I said, now, ma'am, how many places do you think I can go? She said, well, there's Saturday and Sunday. I said, ma'am, even the Lord took a day off.
Didn't he?
I said, give me a break. So, well, again, I am actually hyena happy and peacock proud of the youth that have been coming on board to this point. The enthusiasm, the energy, the excitement that they're bringing to the program has been great. I'm looking forward to helping mentor our young boys to see the different changes that can occur in them from week to week through our mentoring program. So it's been good.
Yeah, I saw you pass out pizza. That's why I was rubbing my hands last week, y'all.
Yeah, you should.
It was pizza week.
They was running in. Oh, can I have some pizza? I said, hey, where you been at? Oh, okay, come on now.
And you were passing it out to the parents and the employees of the center. That was nice of you.
Well, you want them to help, and you're supposed to help folks and give them things. Better give than receive. How about that?
I hear you. I hear
on
you.
the giving side.
So, and I also noticed that Mr. Wusu was with you.
Yes, he actually came back from his trip, and his trip was actually in Japan. So he told me about the major stops he had. They were Tokyo, Osaka, Kyoto, and I'm probably not pronouncing these correctly, but that's what he said, and Lake Kawaguchi. I said he also saw this castle, lovely gardens. He went to Osaka Castle in the museum. A lot of temples are there, so he saw those. And then Fuchimi Inari Shrine, and that's the one with all the red gates that you may see on television and stuff like that. So I had him tell me about this so I could write it down as well. He went to a bamboo forest, a monkey park, lots of food. There were trains, bus rides, transportation. He said the food was everywhere. He said it wasn't really expensive, but it was everywhere. I'm thinking,
but they don't seem to be. They seem to be slim.
They probably eat the right foods. They eat fish, rice. They probably ain't eating steak and potatoes every day.
We gotta get that. We have to get that diet because if the food is everywhere and they're still staying slim.
And I said, you can gain about 10 pounds. He said, yeah, you could. He said, but he ate in portions and he made it safe.
Okay. And I heard it was cheap. Was it?
He said it was not really expensive. It depended on where you were, but it filled you up. He did say that.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to put it on my bucket list. Maybe my wife and I will take a trip to Japan. No, he told me he was in about 12 hours. I'm not going to Japan. We'll see.
I'd like to say hello to Janice Rucker. Thank you for watching.
Hey, Janice.
Okay, so he also said something about 5 o'clock traffic. So you're going to have to do something about the time. We always forget about that 5 o'clock traffic. Your program starts at 5:30. So us managers trying to make it there.
Well, it's called planning.
Look at you.
You have to be a good planner
because he's always there. He's always there like 4.
I start leaving, getting ready. At 4 o'clock, it's like, okay, you need to head that way now in case something happens. Traffic, police going by for some reason, accident. You never know. But that's from my early days of training. I always be on time.
Yes.
Because football coach at Western Kentucky, you say if you're on time, you're late. So I try to be on time. Phi Beta Sigma fraternity, rule number 1, be on time.
And the programs were interesting because the young men, they were still interesting. Even the new ones, they were interesting. I again, kudos to you parents out there. Y'all doing the thing with these young men, and it needs to be heard. It needs to be said that they are some intelligent men out there.
Yes.
And one center young man said that he was now did he say he was a mathematician or he was in a mathalon?
He was in a mathalon where he could tell you every multiple up to 12. So he won. So that was really good because you're thinking some of our kids don't even like math, let alone multiplication.
Yeah, duh.
Multiplication actually. So, and that's why I married an accountant, so I don't have to worry about that.
You had a 4.0 until the algebra. The next semester was algebra. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Well,
in college, I had a 4.0. I was running a 4.0, and algebra came. My weakest link is math.
Amen.
And I got a C. I'll take it. I will take it.
It's funny you say you got a C. You don't know how many doctors that got a C that are working on you right now. Because they don't
don't say that. Don't say. No, moving on.
As we digress.
Okay, so another one, young man, he had was that the same young man that had the birthday party?
No, it was a second guy that had a birthday. It was his birthday.
Okay.
He was actually 10 years old that day.
And the one that won the mathalon, how old was he? 11?
He'll be 10 in December.
The one,
He'll be 11.
He's only 10 years old. Won a mathlon.
And that's the one that wants to be an astronaut.
See, he needs.
So that might be why.
I needed to look him up.
Well, his mother's a nurse, a doctor, or something, so I can see that. But still.
And what did y'all do for the one that had his birthday? Was that day?
We sung happy birthday.
Yes, they did. They sung happy birthday to him.
And he didn't expect that. Neither did the parent that bought him. So, see, we want to bring out the best in our boys. And one of the ways is to let them know that they're important. Because what I've been seeing is we have no hope for some of our kids. And as my pastor Cosby and my mentor, they always say, hope is having only positive expectations.
Yeah.
And we're just trying to give these young men hope.
And it starts with
Boys of Color Rise. You better recognize. Come on now.
Okay, at another center, there was yet another young man. He mentioned he loved to cook too. Yeah. And he spoke about going into the restaurant business.
Well, actually, his family is in the restaurant business, and they're going to be at that event on June the, I think it's the 10th, where they're having this cookout for a lot of people. And I told him I might have to hook him up with one of my other guys, and they could start their own cooking business. Who knows?
Yeah.
I'm excited about it because they have potential.
You mentioned last week that you was going to help them fulfill their dreams because you have so many wanting to go into the culinary field. How about this? How about we hook up with some community events and we get a booth and we have this Boys of Color Rise Taste the Flavor.
Hey, girl, you done said something now.
You know what I'm saying?
Much love
you know what I'm saying?
Look. And y'all come out and taste the young men's cooking, and if you really, really like it, that donation could help us go somewhere, and they could learn more and more and more and get better and better and better. Boys of Color Rise just jumping off the chain. Come on now.
Yeah.
And I like to eat, so that does help.
You're going to be in line. Wait a minute, hold up. I got y'all later. But let me get this second plate.
Amen.
Okay, so I also noticed that this was interesting. Was the one boy with the watch on? Mm-hmm. Was he about 11?
No, he was 14.
No, he was 14.
Yes.
Okay, so I've never seen 14-year-olds wear watches these days. They usually have their cell phones for a phone or time, but he had a watch on, and that was just really... I
asked him about that, and it was given to him as a gift. Mm-hmm. But I think the thing that you noticed was how big and bright it was, gold and black.
No, it was just that it was a watch, but I loved it. It was a nice watch. It was
nice. I made sure. I said, did you take it off when you played basketball? He said, yeah. So you can see he was taking care of that watch, so it meant something to him. Yeah. And that's good. And that means he could probably tell time. I'm sure he wasn't just wearing it for facade.
Well, now that you brought it up, I did some research.
Uh-oh.
Want to know what I found?
Yes. What did you find? That's right.
So, it says that people who wear watches are dependable and reliable.
Wow.
And that it implies punctuality and conscientiousness. I got a big word on you.
Look at that.
I threw a big word on you. Conscientiousness. You know how many times I had to practice?
I know that's right, because you can mess that word up. Got too many syllables in there.
And so I even had to research what is conscientiousness, and it says conscientious individuals demonstrate a strong work ethic, are reliable, punctual, pay attention to detail, and show commitment and purpose.
Wow.
They are the characters that you will see plan their work to the last details or even time schedule.
That's exciting, because
think you got a leader there?
I know I do, because I told the people at the center, here's one right here. Here's a diamond in the rough, which is what we're looking for.
You be picking them out too.
No,
he be to see him. See him walking on the street outside of the center. You know, he'll look through the door. There's one.
Hey,
that one right there.
So I saw him in the gym playing basketball, and he stopped for me. I said, "Excuse me, sir. I'm having a program here where I'm mentoring young boys. Does that sound like something you'd be interested in?" He said, "Well, what is that?" I knew I had him hook, line, and sinker then. What is that? It's just right up your alley. So he's going to be beneficial to the program as well.
Okay, all right. The young man, there was another young man. He was talking about something happening in the schools.
Oh, yeah.
And it kind of blew you away. The expression on your face went from what the heck to, and then and you were asking him, what did you do? And they didn't do what, But I just brought that up to say that parents, y'all gotta be watching out for the new law that's coming into effect next school year. Please pay attention to that new law that's coming into effect next school year. And it's HB 538.
Yes.
So I did some research.
Oh, Lord, some more research.
Yes. You want to know what I found?
What did you find?
Under this law, if students disrupt class 3 times within a month, they can be suspended. Principals can require a review of classroom issues, and the teacher and the student's parents can determine a course of action and remove the student from class for the remainder of the year.
Wow.
If their presence is deemed chronically disruptive, if the teacher has to call on you more than once and all that, But it says that under the bill, school districts, y'all, can also expel a student if evidence show they pose enough danger.
So what if you are ADHD or you had a bad day?
Exactly.
And I know I said 3 times, but they're keeping count of
and
this
we're
stuff.
all in trauma.
Amen.
All of us are in
That's
trauma.
what the pastor said today. We all got some issues.
Yeah. And because, if I hear, a boy smack the table, I would jump if I was a teacher because I'm traumatized.
That's right.
Because of gunfire. And I would immediately, no, I can't have that. You got to get out. Go down to the principal's office. I don't know. Like I said, I went to the one school and it was just packed full of kids, the principal's office. And I asked them what they were there for. And they said, we bad kids.
The kids said that?
We bad kids.
That's the first problem.
I said, no, you're not. I told them. I said, no, you're not. You're not bad. Yeah. But yeah,
they just
for that to come out,
the right things. Yeah, that's where the mentorship comes in at. So
for that to come out right now, in these days and times, though,
they know what they're doing. Same thing in Florida. They know what they're doing. They're targeting kids of color, and they're trying to make sure, for whatever reason, they're taking our books away from us so we can't learn our history. That's why it's his history and not ours. So that's why in Boys of Color Rise, we're going to teach Black history. Because if you don't know where you came from, it's going to be hard to know where you're going.
But the governor, he's to get on the other side. Hi, Mary. How you doing? The governor, that's Mary Ritchie.
Oh, hey, Mary. How you doing?
For the governor to sign it into law, his thing was this helps with, helps the teachers to deal with, disruptive students. And, to me, it's like the Congress and how they sign bills and they don't know what they're signing. You have to go down into what's happening. He should send... He should go out into the schools.
Yeah, that's just like in the corporate America. They make all these rules and regulations for people down here at the bottom when you haven't seen what's actually going on.
Yeah.
And
I like that. What is that? That was that one television show where the bosses went down into their workplace disguised.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yes.
And they didn't know that was the boss.
Yeah,
and
but a lot of them got
they
money
found
and
out
stuff
a
like
lot
that. Why
of
couldn't one
things.
come to my job, give me some money?
But the same should go for the legislators, the mayor, the governor. They should disguise themselves and come down as a parent or something, and check it out for themselves, what's actually going on in the school systems.
They don't want to know the truth.
Well, I guess so. I guess not, And then there's parent involvement. They want parent involvement.
PTA.
But the schools are far, far away.
Well, and you don't have any parents on the PTA anymore. But if you can't get there, that's another issue.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's another issue, the parent involvement thing. So the parents are going to be far away. Their kids are going to be expelled from school while they're working. And because they can't get to the schools, the teachers, the traumatized teachers. I'm going to say it. Not teachers, traumatized teachers. Because again, we are all in trauma. This was really not the time to put a bill in to expel students. Now the students are going to be all on the streets. And that's another thing that's thrown on us, the community, to try to handle and take care of.
Oh, well. Boys
So
of
we
Color
got
Rise.
Boys of Color Rise came. Boys of Color Rise came in
members.
Just in time. You want to make
Amen.
a plug for it?
Yes, definitely do that. So reach out to the Boys of Color Rise. You can reach us at Steve Shaw, 502-420-8308. You can go on to Facebook, type in Boys of Color Rise. You can go to one of the community centers that we mentioned earlier, check in with the QR code, or just call them. We can be found. We're there.
Yeah. There was another young man, and he informed us that he had a job interview.
Oh, I love that one.
And I love what you did.
Well, so I try to help everybody that I can.
Mm-hmm.
So I mentioned to the little man, I tell you what I'm going to do. We had a mock interview on the spot. Mock interview.
He did.
And let me show you
He
how to do
really
the interview,
did.
man. So I told him, first off, wear something nice. Not a t-shirt, but a collared shirt. Some nice slacks. Do not go to this interview with tennis shoes. Wear you some hard shoes.
He did.
Matter
He
of
said,
fact,
don't
if you didn't have
wear
them, I
tennis
was going to give him
shoes.
something. Yeah. When did this tennis shoe thing start coming in?
Because the whole workplace is like
But you
comfortable
got to
wear
go
now.
like it's the job you want. And
I
gotta
hear you,
prove it.
though. I hear
Hey,
you.
you had to dress to impress. I'm just
I
saying.
hear you.
So we did a mock interview. I asked a few questions, and he answered them really good. And I asked the other kids in the community center, what did they think? They thought, oh, wow, he's really good. I said, see, that's half the battle. Most of the people, when you go to an interview, if you just go there and smile, it takes 7 to 12 muscles to smile. It takes about 72 to 84 to frown. So if you turn it upside down, you smiled at me about 5 or 6 times. And I told him, if you just go in there and you sit up straight and just be confident, you're going to get the job. Because here today, everywhere you go, you see help wanted.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look at it, if 9 people apply for a job, only about 2 to 3 of them are going to show up.
Right.
If you show up looking nice, dressed right, and speak with authority, don't speak like you're scared, because fear is false evidence appearing real. They want to hire you,
Right.
but they don't want to hire you timid. So speak like you got some sense, not with ebonics, and then you're going to get the job. So I can't wait to go next week to see if he got the job.
Right. And so he was also, you and Mr. Wusu, y'all did the opposite.
Oh, yeah. So I had Mr. Wusu, the other manager, play a role. We did a mock interview, but I told him to ask some bad answers and bad stuff. And, oh, did he ask some bad ones? I said, oh, no, you don't want a job. Have a good day.
Because he said, why do you want this job? And he said, money.
Not the correct answer. You know, we all want money, but that's not what you want to tell them on the interview. You got to come up with something creative, and maybe that was creative for him. He wants the money.
And what was shocking that you learned about the age?
Oh, so the community centers are now, I've been trying to find out how we can pay these kids 10 to 14 years old. So they have some kind of grant now at the community centers. They're actually going to be paying youth 15 years old an actual salary. I think it's like $15 an hour
The
for
community
the summer.
centers?
Yeah, and it's a
Community
40-hour
centers,
a
you
week
guys
program.
hiring 15-year-olds.
Yeah. So it's going to be really good. I think what it does is they're teaching them, so after the program is over, now you're prepared to actually go to a real job, work, do an interview, and get the job.
And you thought you had to be
16.
16 years old. Yeah.
So it's a new thing they're trying out. I think we ought to try it out from 12 on up, because there are so many jobs that kids can work. I'm not talking about 8-hour jobs for all of them. Maybe give them 2, 3, 4 hours a day to get a little something behind them where they can have some change in their pocket.
So I did some research.
Oh, Lord. And what did you come up with?
And so I asked the question, how old you got to be here in Kentucky to work? And it said 14 years old.
Oh, wow. So I got a couple of other
14
people who get
years
those
old.
jobs. Okay.
Now, wait a minute. Not everywhere. I looked to see who's hiring for 14-year-olds, and it said Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A hires 14-year-olds.
And let me say this about Chick-fil-A. If that is not one of the most important jobs to have as a kid, because everything is structured. And it's structured almost like the Bible.
How you know?
Because I've been there and I talked to some people.
Really?
When you go to a Chick-fil-A line, they will treat you with respect. If they mess your order up, they're going to fix it on the spot. And they might give you a coupon to come back because they messed up my order one time. It wasn't their fault. They just did the wrong thing. But in the order, they asked, how can I help you? Would that be all for you? And what was the name that you would like on this? I was okay. And they are, go to Chick-fil-A and then go to McDonald's or go to totally different. I went to, I got the pizzas from Little Caesar. Let's say, lady said, what do you want? I'm like, excuse me? Is that how you address somebody? I mean, not against him, but the guy that I was with, the little youth, he said, I saw the same thing. I would have left. I mean, just disrespectful, never. And I've been to Chick-fil-A because it's one of my wife's favorite places. We go there a lot, and every time, 9 out of 10 times, you get better service there than I've gotten anywhere else.
Okay, man.
Try it out.
So, structure. Okay, all right.
And they dressed all alike. I think we ought to have that same way with school. If everybody had a uniform, you wouldn't have to worry about stealing my stuff. But look at their uniforms. They're neat. They're clean. They smile at you. They're non-threatening. How can it help you?
All right. I didn't know all of that, But also, I did some research.
And what did you find out?
And I wanted to know, like, when did this child working the children come into play? And it has always been that children they work children to death. And right today in the United States, there still exists, the child labor still exists in the United States today. So. Well,
I'm happy to hear that. But with that being said, I'm going to plug us up again. Facebook, check us out. We're there. You can go to boysofcolorize@gmail.com. Call me 502-420-8308. We're looking forward to you bringing your child to the community center.
I'm optimistic, not a statistic, got a bright future and I can't risk it. Trying to do right, but it gets tempting. Walk the straight and narrow, but it gets tricky. My community, my motivation, cooperation and communication. Trying to compromise, need organization. It's a rough road ahead, trying to build a nation. Be outspoken, you gotta be focused. To build a better tomorrow, the future's golden. You gotta learn to have patience, everything will come in time. Now young black man rise, young black man rise. You gotta be outspoken, you gotta be focused. To build a better tomorrow.
All right, we'll see you next week. Good job.